First one is abhayam. Abhayam is fearlessness. Fearlessness due to absence of anxiety. Anxiety that something is going to happen to us or death is going to come, that kind of anxieties. A devotee of Krishna, follower of scriptures, will never be scared of these kind of anxiety-related fears. The next guna is sattva samsuddhihi. All these words are there in the first to third verses of this chapter. Sattva samsuddhihi means purification of one's existence. Then we can see jnana yoga vyavastitihi, which means situated in the knowledge of devotion. We all know about dhanam, that is charity, and we know about damaha, that is controlling the mind or the senses, and swadhyayaha, that means devoted study of Vedic scriptures. We also know about yajna. Yajna means performing according to the authorized scriptures, we have to perform the ceremonies. So for a gruhastu, 4, 5, and 6, dhanam, and controlling the senses and performing the yajna are very important. As we go further in this chapter, we will know why. And tapas is austerity and penance. And one example is Ekadashi. And there are few more like Chandrayanam and all are also followed. And this is a duty of every human being to do these kind of austerities like Ekadashi. Then we have Arjavam, that is simplicity, straightforwardness towards others in thought, in word, and in deeds. Similarly, Ahimsa, we know that it is non-violence, but that also to all living entities, we have to practice Ahimsa by thought, by word, and by deed. Next one, 11th one is Satyam, truthfulness. Verily speaking, what is true, that is beneficial to all living beings. If you read in depth the scriptures, sometimes we think it is we are speaking truth, but it might hurt others. So we have to learn this correct way of handling satyam. And then akrodha, that means freedom from anger. Even though it is very provoking, you should. Even though there could be a good reason to get anger, still we should not practice anger. 13th one, tyagaha. Tyagaha is renunciation of whatever is opposed to Atma Tattva or soul realization. Then Shantihi. As the word says, it is tranquility, keeping the senses peaceful and impervious to agitation. Should have lot of control, lot of patience. Okay? For small reasons, easily we disturb our tranquility. So this is also to be practiced to attain, to improve in this quality. Then apai sunam is aversion to fault finding. We should never point out at others' mistakes, and we should also not always look forward to correct somebody. We are not given that authority. Then daya. Daya is mercy. In detail, we have to learn how to improve in daya guna also. Then we have alolupatvam. It is the absence of greed for sense gratification. Then we have mardhavam. It is gentleness and humility, which is appropriate for saintly association. We all should ask for saintly association. First, we have to practice humility and gentleness. Otherwise, we might hurt a saint or a Vaishnava, and it will become a big aparadha. So we have to first practice gentleness and humility. Then this word hrit. Hrit means modesty. The feeling of shame at the thought of anything inappropriate. immediately from within us, we have to feel guilty, ashamed of our behavior, and try not to repeat it again. Then we have Achampalam, is determination to remain firm against temptations presented to one. For example, like if you take sannyasam, you should control yourself on certain things, because a sannyasi can help other grihastas and other people who got disconnected from Krishna consciousness. So, no way he can let loose his senses. You have to practice, you have to be very firm and control your temptations. Tejas is the next word. Tejas means radiance, and here in this particular chapter, Krishna is talking about Kshatriyas. He's telling that Kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. And Kshama means forgiveness. That also has many dimensions, and we have to keep practicing it. Life is like a lab where we get opportunities to practice, and we have to focus on practicing Kshama. Then Dhriti is fortitude, and Saucham is cleanliness. Both internally and externally, we have to be clean. Internal cleanliness by chanting Harinama Sankirtana and keeping the heart pure, um, practicing unalloyed devotion to our Supreme Lord keeps internally clean. But externally also we have to maintain cleanliness, which helps with advancing in our internal cleanliness also. We want to be spiritually worthy. This cleanliness, internal and external cleanliness, is very important. Then we have Adroha, is absence of envy, non-interference in the interests of others. We have to focus on our own like situations and life, what is given to us and what we are asked to sail through. We should not compare ourselves with others and look at others and envy others. Very important for spiritual growth. And Nati Manita, absence of false ego, lack of desire for honor and prestige. When we crave for fame, honor, and prestige, we quickly fall into false ego. Then going to the next one, the word in this first 2-3 verses, if you have book in front of you, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the last word in this paragraph, you see it says talks about Abhijatasya. Abhijatasya refers to those who were born with the divine nature, destined to follow the divine path, and who are naturally in harmony with the divinity. Very nice. And we will read it one more time. The word Abhijatasya refers to those who are born with the divine nature, destined to follow the divine path, and who are naturally in harmony with divinity. Next word. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation. We have to remember this. And the other way around, whereas the demonic qualities will make for bondage. So one more time, the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Bondage to the material world and accumulate miseries. This one, what are the qualities of this demoniac nature? Qualities belong to those of demoniac nature: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These are all the qualities that belong to those of the demoniac. Then we will read in detail. I will just keep the first screen on for the words. some important points we learned about sannyasis and how they have to control their temptations. And sannyasis go and to home and they beg. That does not mean they don't have food to eat and God is not protecting them. It is their humbleness that on the name of asking for food, they reach every door and they help people. They connect to Krishna consciousness. And as we learned, a gruhastha should do the dhanam and control the mind senses and also perform the yajna. Will benefit everyone. And charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood. We have to work and earn a livelihood by a honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness to rest of the world. And thus a householder should give in charity to institutional societies that are engaged in Krishna consciousness. Charity should be given to the right receiver. Bhagavad Gita explains when and how and to whom we have to give charity. There are different kinds of charity. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we have to always do charity in the mode of goodness and never do in the mode of passion and ignorance. That way, in passion and ignorance, if you do charity, it will only be waste of money and nothing else. Then coming to the word dhamma, self-control. Okay? It is not only meant for other orders of religious society, but it is especially meant for the householder again. Okay? So if he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, then one can produce hundreds of children. But without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. Coming to the word sacrifice, this is another item to be performed by the householder again. Because sacrifice requires large amount of money. Those in other orders of life, namely brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So performance of different types of sacrifice is meant for households. Very interesting and nice information is given here. They should perform Agnihotra sacrifices. Okay? But such sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive and it is not possible for any householder to perform them in this age of Kali. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtana Yajna. This Sankirtana Yajna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the best and the most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely what did we learn just now? Charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice are meant for the householder. Dhanam, Damaha, Yajna. These are meant for the householder. They are also there for the other categories, but mostly householders should practice this. Then Swadhyaya, that is Vedic study, is meant for brahmacharya. Compulsory, they have to spend time in studying the Vedic scriptures. Brahmacharis should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. And that particular brahmachari also should take this knowledge from a bona fide guru. And he should understand whether he is eligible to share this knowledge with other gruhasthas and other people who need this knowledge. If he still thinks he is not eligible, he should still take the guidance of a bona fide guru. And touching upon other things like tapas and Brahmanical quality of simplicity. Who has this quality in our scriptures? Lord Rama has these qualities. Okay? Not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be he in the Brahmachari ashrama or Grihastha ashrama, Vanaprastha ashrama or Sannyasa ashrama, one should be very simple and straightforward. Then coming to Ahimsa, means not very beautiful line given by Prabhupada Guruji. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. So a wife should not disturb a husband who is practicing Krishna consciousness. A husband should not disturb a wife who is practicing Krishna consciousness, for example, in the Gruhastu life. Like that, our friends or our surrounding, anybody is practicing, dare not to disturb them. That is ahimsa. I will read one more time. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. We should not disturb anybody who are progressing in the devotional path. Just to, be lazy and take work from others. So you might be disturbing their devotional time. So we'll be careful about it. Then Satyam. This word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. Satyam, the truth is eternal truth, absolute truth. It will always remain as that. For our convenience, we should not use knowledge, the pure knowledge or the pure truth. We should not modify it for our convenience. Akroda means check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. For once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Okay? Then achapalam, determination, means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. We should have determination. There will be many challenges that will come on our way when we start a work. So we should not get frustrated. We should increase our patience. We should increase our faith on the Supreme Lord and be very determined. Like Dhruva, when he's going, actually Dhruva went to the forest in a Rajoguna mode, that he wants to rule a kingdom like Lord Brahma. Then Krishna sends Narada Mahamuni, and Narada Mahamuni says, "You are just a child, go back home. No, forget about these things, enjoy your childhood." Then he's so determined. He says, "If Guruji, if you can help me, you help me. How I can reach the Supreme Lord? Otherwise, move out of my way." That is the determination of Dhruva, the little 5-year-old boy. Then Narada Mahamuni gives him Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya mantra, and he chants for 6 months. And we all know the story after that. Coming to the word Tejas, here it means Kshatriyas. Okay? That glow, if you are truly following the rules of scriptures, you can see that practice in that Tejas in that person. The Kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it as a Kshatriya. But a person who is able to curb down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. It's a very good quality. He may excuse minor offenses. So that's a very nice practice to be done. And next word is Saucham, means cleanliness. Next word is Saucham, cleanliness. Not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also there should be cleanliness. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. And here, any other words we left? That's it. Nati manita, not expecting honor. applies to the Sudras, the worker class, and which are considered according to the Vedic injunctions to be the lowest of the four classes. If you are expecting this kind of things and doing this kind of works, we will be going to the lowest of all the social orders. So all these 26 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. The word transcendental means divine qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different statuses of social and occupational order. Okay. After telling in detail about this, the purport is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to raise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. After this, Lord Krishna is explaining qualities of demoniac nature: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. Then here Krishna is telling Arjuna, you don't be worried. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. And very nicely, Prabhupada's purport is clarifying this. Like he's telling, his involvement in the fight was not demoniac because he was considering the pros and cons. So Arjuna was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma, Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, and harshness. So what did we learn here? If you don't act under the influence of anger, false prestige, and harshness, you will not get into demoniac qualities. Therefore, he was not of the quality of demons. For a Kshatriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and reframing from such a duty is demonic. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated. Coming to the next one, O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called the divine and the other is called demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. Very clear. Let's go to the next word. They say that this world is unreal with no foundation. No God is controlling this world. They say it is produced of sex desire and have no cause other than lust. These demoniac quality people will, following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves, they are lost into themselves, they don't believe anything else, and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. And the next one says, taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They don't know that something permanent exists, which we should be tied up with. They always, are attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. They're always living in anxiety, abundant anxiety. Until the end of their life, they live in immeasurable anxiety. bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires, and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. A pity to live life like this. So we have to be very careful. Anytime we can get into these things if we forget Krishna. So we should always remember Krishna so that we don't fall into these things. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy. I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So, what sacrifices he does are worthless, and what charity he performs also is only again wasting some of his money but no benefits. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. So from earth we can, earth at least there is sunrise and sunset. There is light here. If we fall down from the earth to the below levels, there is no light. Only darkness. We can't even chant Hare Krishna mantra. All we want is we ask, we cry and ask the Lord to bring us out of this darkness. So we have to be very careful. Although the demoniac person sees others equally rich and influential, or even more so, he thinks that no one is richer than him and that no one is more influential than him. As far as promotion to the higher planetary system is concerned, he does not believe in performing yajnas or sacrifices. Who can be an example for this? Ravana is an example of this. The best example of such demoniac man was Ravana. He offered a program to the people by which he would prepare a staircase so that anyone could reach the heavenly planets. They think they can create one Pushpak Viman or something and just fly off to the higher planets, which is not in reality. Okay? It's like a jal. You just are caught in a net. Moha jal is the word used here. And self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only. For namesake only they do. They don't follow a single rule or a regulation. Then we can learn one word here. The word avidhi purvakam. Avidhi purvakam, meaning a disregard for the rules and regulations. Is called avidhi purvakam. You perform something avidhi purvakam, the avidhi purvakam way. Okay. Then bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, anger, the demons become envious of the supreme personality of Godhead. They become jealous of the Supreme Lord, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Who is practicing real religion, they try to disturb them. And they don't believe in the God within them, and they don't believe that God is existing in everybody around them. Verse number 19, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling those who practice this kind of qualities, demoniac qualities, I will purposefully send them in that path only. Okay? Like if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, it is stated that an individual soul after his death is put into the womb of a mother where he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of superior power. Therefore, in the material existence, we find so many species of life, animals, insects, men, and so on. All are arranged by the superior power. Our Sumit sir's class, we learned that without taking the permission of the Supreme Lord, nothing is going to happen. Even the demigods, everybody will take permission. Even though we pray for some things, demigods, everyone will take the permission of the Supreme Lord and then only make it happen. Okay, so they are not accidental. As for the demoniac, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put into the wombs of demons. Oh, take birth thousands of times in the tamasic wombs, like that Krishna says. And thus they continue to be envious. At a very young age, like 2 years of age itself, this envious quality and all will start. You can clearly see in them. The lowest of mankind. The lowest of mankind. Such demoniac species of men are held to be always full of lust, always violent and hateful, and always unclean. The many kinds of hunters in the jungle are considered to belong to the demoniac species of life. We are surrounded, and in us also there are many demoniac qualities that have to be cleaned for everything inside out, for us and for all the beings around us also to benefit. Harinama Sankirtan is only the way. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will help all of us. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life. O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. God has clearly said this. They will never reach me. They will go more and more into the tamasic wombs and live the tamasic lives. Verse number 21, very important, and we should all remember this. There are 3 gates leading to this hell, the tamo side: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up: lust, anger, and greed. We have to work on them. And I don't know, suddenly it will not happen. It's a gradual process. The help of Harinama Sankirtana, we should continuously chant. That's the only way. That will clean everything. The lust, anger, greed, everything will be cleaned under the Harinama Sankirtana. We have to do unalloyed devotion without asking. Just get into chanting. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. That's degradation of the soul. And for our actions, the soul also has to accompany and undergo all these miseries. So we have to be very careful. Take refuge and shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attain the supreme destination. Once we do sadhana, we cleanse ourselves with Harinama Sankirtana, then we will be eligible to understand about self-realization, and gradually we will attain the supreme destination. He who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Big loser, loser of everything, loser of all the golden opportunities. Verse number 24. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. When we read scriptures, scriptures clearly explain what are our duties and what are not our duties. Scriptures help us know our constitutional position, that we belong to We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And what is our only goal and duty of taking this human body is unalloyed devotion to our Supreme Lord. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that they may gradually be elevated. Yes, this is a gradual process, and we have to get into the process and do it without any interruptions continuously. Okay. Here, to end it, in human society, aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all fall downs. That is the greatest offense of human life. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of threefold miseries. Maya is also Krishna's energy, and it is working for energy for liberating all the conditioned souls. It wants all of us to go back to Krishna. So I'll read it one more time. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of threefold miseries. This material energy is constituted of the three modes of material nature. The last line for today's session is one has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. If path our path can be opened only by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. If that has to happen, we have to constantly strive to stay in the mode of goodness. Those in the modes of passion and ignorance, they will not follow scriptures, they will not follow any holy name, nothing. They disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. We have to be careful when we are associated with others. We should not fall into these kind of traps. These are some of the defects of human society which lead to demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Forgive any mistakes. Thank you, all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Padma Mataji. So actually this chapter inspires us that a devotee should try to cultivate all these good qualities and give away the three gates of hell, that is lust, anger, and greed, if we want to achieve the supreme destination. So if any questions or comments from Mataji, they can put. Otherwise, we'll move forward with Rajesh.
Very nicely explained, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, very nicely explained. Thanks. I have just one inquisitive question. It is not directly, may not be related to something not covered here. So if you look at in one of the verse, Prabhupada gave the example of Ravana for the demonic character. Okay. And also in some verse, he has mentioned that such demonic, I mean, not necessarily Ravana, but the people with those demoniac qualities gradually fall down, and they will be their existence will be the highest abominable state. But if you look at Ravana, Hiranyakasipu, these two people at least, I know they are envious of Lord Hari.
Yes.
But what I learned from Bhagavatam and what I learned even from Ramayana, they worship demigods and they have devotion to demigods.
Mm.
And it is the Lord Hari's will that they have to be taken birth into the womb of these lower species
Yes.
and need to be liberated by getting killed in Lord's hand.
Yes.
So, but is there any example where we really see somebody not like Ravana? It is Lord, Ravana's story is different because anyway, it is Lord's will. After that, they became Shishupala and all that. But do we have any example in the scriptures who has taken these degraded births gradually and, you know, finally they have reached to the most abominable
Prabhu,
state? Because
what I,
Ravana, Hiranyakashipu and all these people are blessed
yeah, yes.
by Lord himself. And they have actually chanted Lord's name more than a devotee because, but enviously, of course. So
Yes,
any
Prabhu.
such examples anybody
Yes,
can
yes.
think of?
Yes, Prabhuji. Beautiful question, Prabhuji. When I read the scriptures, I think everything belongs to the Lord. Nothing is out of the Lord. Because of ahankara, they were put into these punishments and these restrictions. With the assurance, you go and cleanse yourself, I will be there and assure liberation for you. I think everybody drops down because of that demoniac qualities. Ahankara is one of them. Because of ahankara, they have come down. In Ramavatara, in Ramayana, if you see the lady who helped Sita, she was like a demon. She helped Sita. She was next to Sita Mata. She is born as a Subhadra, Krishna's sister in the next birth. So just because of good qualities, we get association closer to the God. And while we are closer to the God, if we go back into qualities like sometimes we feel very pride. Jaya Vijaya, they felt so pride, like they are the ones who will see the Lord. First thing they open the door. It has subconsciously built ahankara in them. That is why no excuse. You have to go and you have to be born like that. Hmm? You should not say no, please change this thing. You want either 3 births like this, or should I leave you for 1,000 births? Take your time and come back. So they asked for 3, we will take. But ahankara is such a bad thing. And here only we will slip into demoniac qualities. Here only we can, by the mercy and by the practice, we can shift into divine qualities. Will that answer the question, Prabhuji?
Yeah, partially. I was looking for an example of
There is
somebody
no
who
one
has
who will be
taken.
unnecessarily put into it because everybody is part and parcel of the Lord.
Right,
Only
right, right. Yes.
because of the guna, we are put into these different types of things. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Actually, mostly in our scriptures, whatever this katha we hear or study, they are actually because Krishna himself want to enjoy that particular type of rasa with his own devotees, and he only is creating demons. He is only creating godly people, so that he can have that mellow with that particular person. Like Hiranaksha and Hiranyakashipu also, we know that they were his own devotees, Jaya Vijaya, in his own kingdom. But he wanted that fight with Hiranaksha, and so that story took place. And similarly, we know how Vidura was Yamaraj, and then he became Vidura from that post, and so many stories. So we all know that from scriptures, it is all Krishna's doing. Like he wants to fight, he is creating a demon like that. And we all know that Ravana, Vibhishan, and Kumbhakarna, they are also born of great lineage of, I think so, Karma Muni only, one of her daughters, and all these things. So they are all, we can learn from scriptures that mostly these stories are to teach us a lesson as well as convey a message.
It is Bhibatsarasa,
Yes.
Mataji.
So different types of rasa, Vibhatsa rasa, and we learned that the secondary rasa, so many secondary rasas. Sometimes we want to express surprise or something like that. So different characters are there. Mostly in scripture, we will not have any example mostly, but I will search if is there any example. I will discuss with him.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
So I will now ask Rajesh Prabhu to present. a summary of 17th chapter?
Sure, Mataji. Is there any background noise, Mataji, from my side?
No.
Okay. Mataji, you can stop sharing.
Padmata Mataji, you can stop sharing the screen, please.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Can somebody help me again? Can you guide me?
Okay, there will be some stop share option on the top of the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji. Got it. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks.
You have to give me the screenshot permission. But you can make me a co-host.
I have to do Prabhuji.
No, Mataji, I'm asking Madhvi Radhika Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. First, I'll start with invocation prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudapadakammalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganarganathan Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saragana Lalitan Sri Visakanditam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavati Paschatate Satarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brundavaneshwari Shabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for summarizing the chapter 16 very nicely, the divine qualities and the demonic nature. So I'm going to cover 17th chapter with Krishna's willing. Prepared small set of slides. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Yeah. So this chapter 17. Just yeah. So this is the chapter 17. I'm going to cover the summary of chapter 17, complete verses from verse 1 to verse 28. So the chapter is titled as Divisions of Faith. So at the start of the chapter, Arjuna asked Krishna a question. So what is the situation of the people who do not follow the principles of scriptures, but worship according to their own imagination? So they don't look into the scriptures, they don't follow the rules and regulations specified in the scripture, but according to their own imagination, right? They do the worship. So Arjuna is asking what happens to them. Are they in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? Now Krishna is replying to that. What Krishna is saying is, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, the faith can be of three kinds. They are the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. Right? So how these modes of nature are acquired by the embodied soul? Majorly by the association and the past activities. So the way their faith can be either in goodness or passion or ignorance. So the people in the mode of goodness, they primarily worship demigods. The people in the mode of passion, they worship the demons, and the people in ignorance, they worship ghosts and spirits. So Prabhupada is nicely explaining the qualities of the demons. Of course, this is kind of some sort of repeat only. Whatever we covered in chapter 16, again, some qualities are highlighted here. So the demons, they undergo severe austerities and penances, not recommended in the scriptures. Right? They work according to their own will. They won't follow scriptures. They always perform things out of pride and egoism. So they have lots and lots of pride, and they're so egoistic persons. And they are always impelled by lust and attachment to material things. And they're fully foolish people, and they torture the material elements of the body. Right? They go for extreme austerities, and this is certainly not recommended in scriptures. So in chapter 17, so we are going to talk about multiple things like food, sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Again, from the point of view of modes, right? Modes of goodness, modes of passion, and modes of ignorance. First, we'll talk about food. So the foods in the mode of goodness, they always increase the duration of life, right? And by taking those foods, so they purify our existence, and they give the strength, health, happiness, and they give satisfaction also. After eating the food, definitely we get the strength, and health also will be improved. We get a lot of happiness by eating that food, and we also be satisfied. And what are the characteristics of these foods? They are juicy in nature. For example, if you take any fruits, they are juicy. And fatty means all milk products like paneer, cheese. These come under the mode of goodness. And they are wholesome. They contain a lot of almost all the vitamins that are needed for the body. Pulses, dal, um, and fruits. Right? These come under the modes of goodness. And they're always pleasing to heart. There is nothing like spicy, too much spicy or so that we generally observe in the mode of passion. So the next type of food is a mode of in the mode of passion. So they are too bitter, too sour, too salty, too hot, extremely spicy, and they're pungent, not smelling so good, and they are dry and burning. Even after taking that spicy, so we may feel some burning sensation in our stomach. And who generally like this food? The people in the mode of passion, they generally like this spicy food. And what is the end result? They cause distress, miseries, and disease. They are not really good for the uh, health of people in general. Coming to the mode of ignorance, the food that is cooked more than 3 hours before we consume. And the other characteristic is it's completely tasteless. It's a decomposed food, like non-vegetarian, putrid, contains remnants and untouchable things. So who like this food? People in the mode of darkness, they generally like this. The recommendation is to have food in the mode of goodness to attain the good qualities. Now coming to sacrifices. So the sacrifices that come under the mode of goodness, right? They are performed according to the directions of scriptures. The regulations or the process that is mentioned as scriptures, if one is following, it means that those sacrifices are in the mode of goodness. And why do they do that? It is just done as a matter of duty. For example, if you are going to temple, right? If you are expecting something in a return, that is not in the mode of goodness. But if you are going to the temple as a matter of duty, because um, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and it is my duty go to the temple and worship him. That is called the mode of goodness. Here we are not expecting anything in return. We are in a mood of serving the Lord, and we desire any no reward in return. That is called in the mode of goodness, a mode of passion. So why people in mode of passion do this sacrifice? They always expect something in return. They always do it for some material benefit, to gain some material benefits, like earning more money, or buying big cars and things like that, for material opulence. And they often do this for sake of pride. They always think people have to appreciate me by doing this. That is their motivation, and their end goal is to elevate to the heavenly kingdom, right? And the mode of ignorance, this sacrifice is without regard to the direction of scripture. So whatever the acts or sacrifices they do in the mode of good ignorance, so they are not mentioned in the scriptures, right? And if you don't distribute the prasadam, right, as a part of sacrifice, that also comes under mode of ignorance. And generally these acts are not um, these acts are not um, they don't chant Vedic hymns while doing those sacrifices, right? And without remuneration to priests, and without faith, whatever they're doing, they simply do it as a matter of maybe somebody told me to do that, okay, they simply do that, but that is without any faith. So faith is very important when we are doing any good things, right? Good sacrifices. Now coming to austerities. So austerity, actually, there are three things Prabhupada is explaining here: austerity of body, austerity of speech, and austerity of mind. So now, first thing is austerity of body. Here, the qualities like worshipping of the Supreme Lord, Brahmanas, spiritual master, our elderly people like father, mother, grandfather, right? So this comes under austerity of body. And cleanliness is also very important. We should be simple and humble. We should practice celibacy and non-violence. I think Mataji very well covered this non-violence in the previous chapter. Now, austerity of speech. Our speech should always be truthful. We should always speak truth. And when we speak, it must be pleasing to the others. We should not hurt others. And it should be beneficial. We should not talk something, that is not useful for others, right? So it always have to be beneficial to others when we speak something. And it should not agitate others, right? We should not unnecessarily scold the people, right? Otherwise, it creates a lot of agitation, and that is not good for us as well as others. And austerity of speech also means regularly reciting the Vedic literature, reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, memorizing the verses. This all comes under austerity of speech. And austerity of mind, right? What are the symptoms? So they always feel a lot of satisfaction, and they're very simple in nature, and they're very sincere, and they have lots and lots of self-control. They have full control on their mind. They don't just let their mind go on unnecessary things. And what is the end goal? They purify their own existence through chanting mantras, controlling their mind. So now austerities in the mode of goodness, how they are performed? They are performed with transcendental faith. faith is very, very important when you are doing the austerities. They don't expect anything in return, the material benefits. And why they are doing? They are doing it just for the sake of pleasure of the Supreme Lord. The people, the austerities that are done in the passion, they are done out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship in the society. Right? For example, the political people, they do the hunger strikes and all, right? So that is not a good sort of austerity there. That comes under mode of passion, because we are expecting some kind of respect over there and honor from the common people. That is not good. And the results that we get, that is neither stable nor permanent. And the last one is the austerities in the mode of ignorance. These austerities are done out of foolishness. They self-torture their body, which are not prescribed in the Vedas, and they either destroy themselves or they injure others also. So when they uh, torture themselves, right, they even torture the super soul that is dwelling in their own hearts. That is not good at all. Now coming to charity. Charity again is in the three modes of goodness, modes of passion, modes of ignorance. Where the charity that is done in the mode of goodness is again given out of duty only, without anything expected in return. And the charity is done at a proper time and a proper place. And it has to be done to a worthy person. If you want to distribute something, right, you should not give it a person that is not needed for him, right? For example, if somebody is asking for money outside, and if you donate money, and if he's going to wine shop and drinking or smoking, right, that doesn't come under the charity under mode of goodness. We have to give the charity to a worthy person, right? Really, really needed person. And charity in the mode of passion, here they always the persons who give charity in the mode of passion, they always expect something in return. Okay, I'm giving this, I expect something in the return. So that is not good again. You can think of it like in elections also, politicians, they do a lot of charitable work, right? That is to please people, right? But then again, they expect something in return in forms of votes. That is also not good. And desire for the fruitive results, right? The aim is in the mode of goodness. We saw there is no reward or anything written. They expect people in mode of goodness, but here they expect uh, some fruitive results, right? They want some return, and they are doing for some purpose. That is not. And they always the people in the mode of passion, the charity that is done in the mode of passion, it is done in a grudging mode, reluctant. Basically, you don't want to give, but for some, because if somebody is enforcing you, or because the situation is demanding, you do the charity in a reluctant way. That is also not good. And the charity that is done in the mode of ignorance, that is done in the impure place at improper time and to the unworthy persons, without proper attention or respect, right? You don't really concern or care about the receiver, right? You simply just do the donation, right? And without thinking for what purpose he is using that is also not. Okay, so in this chapter 17, in the final set of verses, it is mentioned about the Om Tat Sat. These Om Tat Sat, three words, they represent the supreme absolute truth. So this Om Tat Sat represents the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. And so when are these words used? So for example, when we are initiating a person, or when we are offering a sacred thread, so these Om Tat Sat words are used. And why are we doing all this? The main objective is to uh, um, is to do it for the pleasure of supreme personality of Godhead. It is used in many ways to perfect all activities and make everything complete, right? So if you don't chant Vedic hymns or mantras, right, whatever sacrifice you are doing, that may not be perfect. So you always, keep chanting the holy names of the Lord and do your duty. That will keep all activities perfect. The conclusive points. The performance of charity, sacrifice, and penance, they must be done in the mode of goodness only. We should not do any sacrifice or penance or charity in the mode of passion or ignorance. Right? We always have to choose the choose to do these things in the mode of goodness. And Bhagavad Gita strongly recommends that any work that we do, right, for Om Tat Sat, Supreme Personality of Godhead, right, it has to be done keeping Krishna in the mind. Whatever you do, right, whether you are doing some, austerities or you are doing some charitable work or you are eating some food, right, it has to be finally the end goal is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That has to be done for him. So when performs penance, charity, and sacrifice, right, is acting in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada nicely writes purport here. He's saying Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities which enables one to return to home, back to Godhead. Why are we doing these sacrifices? Charity, penance, all these things, right? Chanting the holy names, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam, and doing devotional service, worshipping the Lord. All these things, why are we doing eventually, right? The ultimate purpose is for the pleasure of the Lord, as well as by doing these activities, right? We will definitely go to return back to Godhead. So while doing this, there is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way. Right? This is very important. Right? We also have this verse, wonderful verse, Neha Bikramana Sosti, Prachavayo Navidyate, Swalpamapriyasa Dharmasa, Trayate Mahatobhaya. Right? So even a small little endeavor we put in the spiritual part, right? It will save us from greatest dangers. What is the greatest danger in our life? It's of course death. Right? And transcendental subject matter becomes clear in the association of devotees. Again, 16th chapter also, association is very, very important, right? Whether if we have to cultivate good qualities, we have to be in association of people in the mode of goodness, right? If we are associating with the people in the mode of passion or mode of ignorance, naturally we are inclined to those modes only. So association is very, very important. We have to be in regular touch with the devotees and cultivate those qualities. This is very, very important. Even Prabhupada also says, right, our spiritual progress, ABCD is very important. First point is association, B is books, C is charity, and D is diet. Right? So as their association comes as the first thing. They really, guide us a lot in our spiritual journey. Right? Very, very important. That's all I have, Mataji. Are there any questions?
Prabhuji, I just wanted to get clarification. The person who takes the charity is always superior in all dimensions than us. Out of humbleness, he will receive the charity from us. Correct, Prabhuji?
Out of charity, he will receive from us. Can you repeat, Mataji?
Where we give charity, thinking that the term is used in a different way in this materialistic world, like we are having something more and we are giving it to somebody who don't have it. But the person who is taking charity is superior than us in all ways, and out of humbleness, he takes the charity from us. Being compassionate on our situation and us, he will take charity from us. I want clarification. Is it correct, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that's correct, Mataji. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we should be always, when we are giving charity, we should not expect anything in return from them. That is when anything, not only from them directly, right? We should not expect any return also, even from anybody, right? So that is more important. We should not do it out of pride. That is more important. Yeah. And
Hare
it's all at
Krishna,
the end of the
Prabhuji.
day, it's all for our purification only. Whatever we do, it's all our purification, austerities, penance, charity, whatever we do, it's all for our own benefit only eventually at the end of the day. Yeah. Yes, Mataji, you have some question? Lavanya Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This regarding charity, is there any particular time and place, some specific place and time that we should give?
Okay. Place means in general, right? So, I mean, we have to do it. If you do the charity in the pilgrimage places, right? That will give the, that is the correct way, right? And then if you are doing this charity in inappropriate places like wine shops and on the roads, right, where it's a lot of uncleanliness and then people are in the mode of ignorance, right? The problem is mostly the people misuse that money, whatever charity you give, right? So that is the problem there. But if you do it in the in a good places like pilgrim places, mostly I think that will be used for good purpose only, maybe for the survival of that person, right? Whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
The Mataji, it is also mentioned that
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
it is also mentioned that like time during eclipses, we in our scripture it is mentioned that if we give charity during eclipses, it is considered to be very auspicious. So that is
Yeah.
also mentioned. Yes, Asha Prabhu, you can answer.
No question. Just wanted to compliment Rajesh Prabhuji. Rajesh Prabhuji, very nice, crisp, and very analytical presentation. You have segregated things in a very, simplified manner for us to, understand things. I really liked the way you have presented this. Wonderful. Thank you so much. If
Thank
you
you.
don't mind, Rajesh Prabhuji, would you mind sharing this presentation? I would really
Sure,
like to,
Prabhuji.
have it for
Definitely.
my reference. Thank you so much. Thank
Definitely.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, Raju, thank you. This chapter is so simple and straightforward, but you made it attractive by presenting in this form. So very attractive slides, and I think so you have put a lot of effort in making these slides. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
a lot of wisdom from Krishna in you. Very nice. Yeah,
This is all
simplifying
for my
requires
purification
wisdom.
only, Prabhuji, right? The moment I prepare this slide, right, I do
No,
a
that
lot
is
of that gives me a lot of satisfaction and pleasure while doing that.
No, Prabhuji, you are breaking off. I'm not sure whether this is just for me or everyone else.
Yes, he's breaking off. It looks like signal quality is not so good.
Signal quality is poor. I was saying simplifying requires a lot of wisdom, which Krishna has given you.
Okay. So if there is anything else, otherwise we will like to end the session. Thanks a lot for all of you for attending the session. Thanks.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.